Hi friends, welcome to WebChamp. In this video, I am going to discuss data modeling in Power BI. Okay, so let's understand first why we need to do the data modeling. So whenever we go for the data analysis, we will not get the data for in related to the business at a single location, single source. Okay, the data must be available at different locations in the forms of different files or databases. And as a data analyst, when we have to analyze the data, what we need to do is we need to gather the data from various sources. But whenever we gather the data, okay, the data will not be ready for the analysis purpose. So definitely you need to perform some transformations. You need to modify the data. You need to prepare the data for the analysis purpose. And once the data is ready, okay, what we will do, we will load the data into Power BI. But this is not sufficient. Okay. So if you have a data for different entities, we need to find out the relationship between that entities, and that entities, or finding out the relationship between that entities is nothing but data modeling. So if I say what is data modeling, so data modeling is simply in Power BI. Okay, it is different concept even in case of database, but in case of Power BI, it is nothing but finding out the relationship between multiple tables or different tables, not multiple tables. It enables the filtering of data and filtering in a calculation also, and in while we creating the visuals. Okay. So when we do the data modeling, the data exploration is faster, meaning very easily you will understood the data. Okay, and yes, so data exploration is nothing but the initial step, okay, before the analysis or data preparation. It is one of the step in the data preparation. Then aggregation will be faster or easier. Then reporting, whatever the reports you will generate, that will be more precise or accurate, we can say. Even when we perform the modeling, when we find out the relationships, so you can build the reports, you can create the reports very quickly. Even the maintenance of the report will be lesser. Then by creating the relationships, you will get to know what data we have and what data we still need to find or still need to gather. And obviously it is based on the relationship and cardinality. So we will come to know that about what is the cardinality and what is the relationship, what is filter direction. So with respect to that, I will discuss. Okay, so typical process to find out the relationship is, first we will connect to the source, and once we have the data into the model, we will try to find out the relationships. Okay, and how relationships are works. So if you have a data, okay, the table has unique values in a specific column. That column is considered as an primary key column. And when we have a data, okay, into the another table, and where that primary key values are getting repeated, so that table we can refer as an foreign key. So this is very similar. Okay, when we have a data in the form of unique data in any specific table, so we can say that that table can be referred as a parent table. And then if your data, meaning your business data, will always have the foreign key, and your support data will be a primary key table or parent table. And obviously, meaning if I say, okay, so customer details, so obviously in customer table there will be only one customer key, but the same customer key can be used multiple times in order table, right? So customer table can be referred as a parent table. Why? Because that has unique data, unique customer keys. And in case of order, so one customer can put multiple orders. Okay, so the key will appear again and again. So that table can be referred as a child table, or that column will have foreign key. And these keys helps in Power BI to understand the how data in one table related to the data in another table. Then once we find out the common columns between two tables, okay, then we will try to create the relationships. Okay, and there are four types of relationships. Okay, or we that kind of relationships is referred as an cardinality. So many to one, one to many, and one to one. So these are the four types of relationships. Okay, then cross filtering is one of the part while we create the reports. Okay, so because of relationships or data modeling part, so we can filter, or Power BI can filter the data automatically, meaning the if you try to plot the graph, okay, or if you try to perform the calculations, one column if you pick from the customer table, or any categorical column if you pick, and if you pick the details or value column from the order table, so since there is a relationship, it will do auto filtering while performing the aggregation and all. Okay, even if you change the filter of one visuals, it will change the filter, or automatically it will reflect on another visuals also, another type of, that's we will see as we progress. Okay, then obviously DAX calculation, whatever the calculation we perform, so obviously filtering is there, and we need to create, sometime we need to create the relationship manually also. So that is also fine. By using DAX functions, we can create the relationships. Then we'll come to the point called cardinality. Okay, cardinality in Power BI refers to the type of relationship between two tables in data model. As I said, one to one, many to many, one to many, or many to one. So these are the types of cardinality. And what cardinality does? Yes, why cardinality is important? So it is important for accurately interpreting and displaying the data in visualization and calculation. Okay, what cardinality does? So it specifies how the rows in one table related to the rows in another table based on the values in the column. Okay, as I said, primary key and foreign key I used example, used to establish the relationship. Then one-to-one relationship, okay, very rarely this kind of relationship is used. And let's say employee and employee ID. This is what the one example. Obviously, for one employee, there will be one employee ID. Employee ID will not get repeated. Right. So we can say that this is one-to-one relationship. Person and passport. One person will have one passport. Even brand and model. One brand will have one model. So this is what the one-to-one relationship. When you have a data in this format, so we will come to know. So Power BI has ability to detect this cardinality automatically. When we try to create the relationship, will show you everything. Okay, let's understand now one to many or many to many. Okay, as I said, if we have a customer table, so that table will have the one customer or one row for one customer. Okay, as I said, or one customer key for one customer. Okay, anything you can consider. But in case of order, that key can, or that customer key can be repeated multiple times, as many times the customer put the orders. Right. So here we can say that one customer has ordered the many products. So that kind of relationship is nothing but one to many, or exactly vice versa. It can happen many to one relationship. Okay. Many to many relationship is referred as a weak relationships. So that is not a good idea to use this relationship while performing the calculations and all. But yes, in some situation, the situation meaning these many to many relationships comes in a picture. Okay. Then what is active and inactive relationships? When we try to create the multiple relationships between two tables based on two different columns. Okay, from one table, okay, if you consider two different columns. For example, let's say you have sales data. So sales data may have details like order date and ship date. Okay, and if you try to create the relationship with another table, another table's date with the both the column, so Power BI will allow you to create the relationship, but at a time only one relationship can be active. It's up to you which relationship you wanted to keep the active and which you wanted to keep the inactive. So this is how it works. And the continuous line, if you see the continuous line between two tables that representing the relationships, so we can say that is the active relationship. If the line is dotted, we can say that is a inactive relationship. Okay. So let's see this part on the Power BI. Okay. So far, I have not connected to the source. I will connect to any specific file. Okay. And let's say this is what my data file. I will load the data from Excel. Okay. I'm going to load the multiple tables here. And if I say calendar, customer, then product, sales, and territory. Okay. Territory meaning region details. Okay. And if I say load, so it will load the multiple tables, right? These are the entities, customer, product, then region. Okay, these are the business entities. And obviously the data will not have at the same place in single table. That is not a good idea, right? So we may get the data in this way. Okay, when we load the data, Power BI try to find out the common columns between these tables, and it will try to create the relationship automatically. But every time that will not be successful. Right? So if I go to the model view, okay, once the data has been loaded into the Power BI, okay, you can go to this model view to create the relationship. Okay, let me zoom out. Okay, and here you can see that you can see there are two tables. Okay, sales and product table. So it has Power BI has find out some relationship between this table, and the line is representing that relationship. If you over the mouse on that, so you can see that it will represent the columns based on what columns it has created the relationship. So product key from both the tables it has been. Okay, so when you have same names in the two tables, so it will try to rectify the relationship. And there is something called, okay, one on product side, okay, and star on the sales data side, meaning this is order data. Okay, so what it is representing, let's understand. So this is one. Okay, so this says that this table has unique values, and obviously for the product key, this table has multiple values. Obviously, okay, when I said one product can be ordered by many people, so product key will come again and again, in that table. So that's why it says product key appears many times in the sales table, while it appears only one times in the product table. And here we can say that this is what the one to many relationship. Okay, this is one of the example one to many relationship, and this is the mostly used type of relationship, one to many, many to one. Okay, most of the times you will use that. One to one and many to many. I Okay, one to one I saw, but many to many you need to handle differently. Okay, that we will see in later videos. So here relationship is created. Right. So this is how we have created the relationship. Okay, fine. So Power BI has created the relationship automatically. This is fine for me. But what if I wanted to find out the relationship? Okay. Sometimes Power BI may not be able to detect the relationship between two tables automatically. In that case, what we can do, we can go and define the relationships. How to define the relationship? Okay. Simply you find out the common columns between two tables and let's say select that column. Okay. And drag that column on the same column, I mean the column which has same values from another table. So let me drag this, but you need to find out where is the territory key in sales data. Obviously, to link the regional details, we need to have the data in this way. Okay, and there is something called sales territory key. Okay, if I drag the territory key on these cells, you can see that it has created the relationship between two tables. Again, the relationship type is automatically detected many to one. Okay, we have not declared anything, but yes, Power BI is doing everything for you. You need to drag the column. Okay, this is the one way to do or create the relationship. Another way to create the relationship is, okay, let's say I have a calendar column. Okay, and if you want to create the relationship between calendar and sales data, what you can do, you can go to this relationship, manage relationship option. And if you click here, this option is available in the all the three views, not all the three I can say, but yes, in the data view and in the model view. Okay, in home, it is not there. But yes, if you go to the model, there is a way to manage the relationship. If you go to the model and data, there is a way. Okay, there is an option to manage the relationships. So if I go to the model and if I say manage relationship, so here you can see that all the active relationships, it will say whether the relationship is active or not. You can untick the this checkbox and this relationship will get inactive, turn into as an inactive. So I will come to that point, what is active and what is inactive. Even I discussed sometime before, but I will show you how it looks in Power BI. Okay, fine. So from here also you can define the relationship. Either you can drag the columns between two tables, one over the another, and it will find out the relationship. It will do perform everything for you. But in case of if you want to create the relationship from manage relationship options, so you can go to the new and just select the table. I will select the table called sales. And I would like to do the relationship between sales table and calendar table. So I will select calendar table and I will select the date. Okay. So based on the, obviously, so since this is a calendar table, so this will have the details related to the calendars. Okay. So here you can see that again, I did not declare type of cardinality. It has automatically picked, right? Many to one cardinality. Then cross filter direction, I will come to that point also. So there are two types of cross filter direction. Mostly we use the single, but if you define both, so what will happen? I will discuss that also. If you want to make this relationship active, you can check this box. If you don't want, you can untick this box and let's say okay. So it will create the another relationship. So now you can see the line has been created between these two tables. Okay. So like this, we can have the tables. Okay, fine. So now what I did, I created the relationship between all the tables. Okay, on the view you can see. Okay, the view you can see is referred as in star schemas. The star schemas, meaning there is a one business table which is surrounded by all the uh, support data or dimensional tables. The table which has business data, that table is referred as a fact table. So I can say this is my FT. FT stands for fact tables. Okay. On all other tables, I can say this is a dimension table. So these are the support tables. So I will say dim calendar. Okay. I will say dim customer. So dimension table. So this is how you can define. Okay. You can use any other notations for you as per your convenient. Okay, I'm using dim here. Some people will use another. It's up to them. Okay. So what to use? to define. Okay, some people will say SD, support data, but yes. So this schema or this view is representing the star schemas. Okay, when we have the connections between tables in this way. Okay, one table is surrounded by many tables, then we can say that this is the star schemas. Star schemas. Okay, then there is another type of schema is there, but you can Google it. Snowflake schema. So in that schema, what happens? Okay, one dimension table is connected to the another dimension table. So there are multiple dimension tables which are interlinked. Okay, the tables which are directly not connected to the sales table. So in that situation, we can say that that is a Snowflake schema. So that happens. Okay, it depends upon data. So far, I don't have data for that kind of example. Okay, fine. So this is about the creating the relationships, right? And how active and inactive relationships work. Okay, let's say I have a sales data. In sales data, I have something called order date. Okay, if I add, let's say all my dates. Okay, I mean all my orders are shipped after the, okay, not deep, it should be ship date. Okay, I'm just creating one column. I will come to this point how to create and all. So let's say order date plus 3 after 3 days. Okay, after 3 days, all my orders are shipped. So this is what my shipping date, right? Or ship date, I can say. And even if I try to find out the relationship now, for the demo purpose, I have created, okay, since the data is already not there in that way. Okay, so I have one more date column. And if I try to find out the relationship between, or if I try to create the relationship between these two, so now you can see that it shows two different lines, right? One is continuous line, so that represent active relationship. One is dotted line that represent inactive relationship. What will happen? What will happen if we have the active and inactive relationships? Okay. So let's say, as I said, we have seen that the modeling or creating a relationship is help us to filter the data. Okay, and if I say I wanted to view the data, okay, in the way, okay, if I create the one table here, let me increase the size. Okay, before I bring the data, it will not allow me. But let's say from the calendar, okay, from the calendar, if I pick the year, okay, if I go to the data hierarchy and if I pick the year on this, so it is fine. Now I can change the styles, little bit changes I will make so that it will be visible to you. Okay, so in this way, I have a table, and if I bring the sales amount here, okay, if I bring the sales amount, it will automatically filter the data, okay, for the year to create the visuals, right? And this is what the use of finding out the relationship, or this is what the use of data modeling. Okay, it perform the filtering, even it has performed aggregation also. Automatically, it has written me the sum of sales, right? So this part is very easy, right? This part is very easy. But now the problem is what? Okay, if you say this is the sum we are getting is, it is based on the order date. Why? Because we have two relationships in the tables. We have two relationships in the table. Let's say I wanted to find out the sum of sales based on the ship date. Based on the ship date. How I can do? Obviously, since the by default active relationship is based on the order date, you will not be able to get that data. You can use the DAX expressions to activate that another relationship between two columns, but yes, that is what for the temporary purpose. If you want to do that, what you need to do is you need to make this first relationship as an inactive, and then you can do this active relationship. Okay, so even if you go to the properties, there is way to make the relationship. If I select the relationship, okay, even if you double click on this line, it will open the manage relationship. Okay, fine. But if you want to change the properties, okay, here you can see that cardinality. If you want to change the cardinality, you can change. If you want to change the tables, you can change. Okay, and table one, table two details you can see here. And if you want to turn this relationship as an active, and if I say apply, you will get an error. What is it? There are ambiguous paths between FT cells and dimension calendar. Okay, why? Because there are two relationships. Okay, what I need to do is I can go and I deactivate the first relationship, meaning I will make the relationship between calendar tables date column and sales tables order date column as an inactive, and then I will go and activate the another relationship. I will say apply. Now you can see that the data or this model shows the second line, meaning the relationship between ship date. Okay, you can see the highlighted columns also, relationship between ship date and date from the calendar is now active. And if you go here, you can see the numbers are changed, right? Year wise numbers are changed. Earlier, this is what something like 32,000 and all, but now it is 30, not 32,000, okay, 32 lakhs and something. So here now it is 31 lakhs something. Okay, so this is how the numbers are changing. This is how the numbers are changing. Even in 2003 and 4, the number was same in case of the order date. Okay, if we go and use the order date for the filtering purpose, so 3 and 4 will shows the same number. Okay, and if I go here, you can see that the 97 lakhs something is there. Okay, in 3 and 4, but earlier this number was not there. Okay, so this is what the use of active and inactive relationship. So we have reached until here. So next part is how to work with inactive relationship. Okay, let's say you may wants to create the relationship, two relationships active. Okay, so there is something called role playing dimension. What does it mean? Okay, role playing dimension, meaning what you can do, you can go and you can simply create the copy of this calendar table, and then as an calendar 2 or any name you can give as per your suggestion. And then what you can do, you can create the relationship with the date and ship date, and that will be active. If the relationship, meaning when the relationship will be active, when you have multiple relationships between two tables. So between two tables. Okay. But if we add one more table, so obviously we can create the active relationship. So let's do that part also. If I go to the calendar and okay, instead of that, what I will do, I will use the new table, and here I will simply say calendar 2, okay, dim calendar 2, and I will create the, I will copy the data. Okay, what I will do, I will say dim calendar. Okay, and so by writing this, it will create the one more table for me. Okay, dim calendar 2. Now you can see that it has created the table. It has created the table. Okay. Now the thing is that I don't want this inactive relationship. Instead of that, what I will do, I will change this. Okay. How to change? Go to the property. Even you can delete this and make the changes. Okay. I will keep this as it is, but here I will select calendar 2. That's it only. And you can see that now the relationship is manually I need to make this active because it was already in the active state. Sorry, inactive state. So now we have active relationship with ship date, but that is coming from calendar 2. So if you want to create the visuals, okay, same visuals. Okay, let me copy this because I don't need to reformat this once again. Okay, and what I will do, I will remove the year from that table, and instead of the first calendar table, what I will do, I will use the calendar table, and I will bring the year from these two. Okay, I will bring the year from this. Okay, so if I move down, okay, so you can see that now we have two tables which shows sum of sales amount, but based on the two different dates, and the numbers are different, right? Numbers are different. So one is for one is based on the order date, one is based on the ship date. So this is what called role playing dimension. Okay, instead of that, what you can do, you can go and use the user relationship function also while performing. So you need to create the measure, and then inside of that, what you can do, you can use the relationship manually. You can create the relationship between two tables. Okay, so if I create the third table, okay, for the same, okay, let's say the data, hmm, let's say I don't have a relationship between sales amount, sales amount, sales tables, ship date, and calendar table. So obviously there is no relationship between these two tables, right? But what I can do, I can create the relationship by using user relationship function, or I can make the relationship active. Okay, I can make the relationship active based on the ship date. Okay, since we have but here you will not see that changes. Internally it will active for the calculation purpose only. Okay, so what we can do, I will remove this, and instead of that, what I need to do is I need to create the measure. I will create the measure. Okay, I will come to the these points how we can create the measure, but to demonstrate I am creating the measure now. Okay, measure, I will keep this as a measure. I will use the calculate function. Okay, this is a very dynamic function you need to use, and I will say sum of sales amount. Okay, this is what my sales amount, and I will say sum. Okay, and here I will say user relationship. Okay, and definitely it prompts based on what columns. I will say calendar dates, date column. Okay, I'm creating the relationship between calendar table and ship date. Okay, that is there is no direct relationship, so we can create the relationship indirectly. Even for the calculation purpose, that relationship will be active. And from the ship date, I will say, okay, from the FT table, ship date. Okay, and let's say enter. Let's see how this work. Okay, what is says usually. Okay, yes, so we can use this. The problem is what, there is no even inactive relationship, so we need to do that. Okay, so let's say date, and I will create the inactive relationship with ship date column also. So it will automatically create, right? Fine. And you can see that the warning message is gone from this. And now I have used that relationship. Okay. This filtering is happens, okay, based on instead of this year from the dimension to table, what I will do, I will bring the year from the calendar table. Okay, year from the calendar table. Still it works, right? Still it works. The first table shows active relationship between calendar table and sales amount. Second table shows active relationship between the by using the role playing dimension, meaning the data coming from calendar to table. Here you can see that tables are highlighted by the tick mark. Okay, so this is what first table, this is what table, these two tables are used. But in case of the third visual, if I click on this, you can see that it is performing the calculation based on these two tables. And if I open the table, okay, sheep table, so I have created, okay, so I have used a measure. Okay, and in the measure, what we have defined, so we have defined, okay, if I go and if I simply click on the measure, so we have created the relationship between calendar date and sales ship date, right? Even if I go to the model view, you can see that that relationship is inactive. That relationship is inactive so far. Okay, if I click on this, so this is what the uh, active relationship and inactive relationship. So this is the way. Okay, by using two ways, we can use the DAX function called user relationship to handle the to work with the inactive relationship, or we can create the duplicate copy. That is what we can refer, or we can say that role playing dimension. Okay, then there is something called filter direction. Okay, what it is doing, what is mean by filter direction? Obviously there are two types of directions, single direction and filter. Cross filter direction we have seen, right, while creating. If I double click on it, okay, it will open, and here is the option cross filter direction. What does it mean by single and double. So now let's understand that part. Okay. So I have a product table, and let's say I have sales table. Okay. So if you can see that direction in this way. Okay, in this way, meaning the filter is coming from product to sales. Obviously, the direction indicates, meaning the arrow indicates this, and this arrow indicates that product tables column are able to filter the data from sales table. Okay, from sales table. But okay, but let's say if I wanted to filter the data from sales table to product, is it possible? No, right? It's not possible. It's not possible. Similarly, okay, there is no relationship between direct relationship between two tables called region, territory, and product. Right? There is no relationship. There is no relationship. But let's say I wanted to see the data in this way, and meaning in the another way. Okay. So we have seen how these filters are working. Filters are working from calendar table. We have seen, but yes, it was working fine. So if I come here and let's say I wanted to find out the number of products sold in each country. The question is number of products sold. Okay, what I want is number of products that products are sold in each country. Okay, so how my filter should work? So first, this should filter the sales data. Okay, the request will come, and yes, it is meaning the country is able to filter the sales data, but the filter, meaning the communication, is not going to product. And if I try to create the visuals in this way, okay, in this way, so you will see the effect. Okay, since there is no direct relationship, so let's see how this works. Let me keep this aside. Fine. Now, if I copy this, instead of creating or reformatting the table, what I will do, I will use to copy. So formatting will remain same. So let's say my question was my country. Okay, country wise, I wanted to see the sum of or number of products. Okay, and so this is what the country, but country is not able to, as we have seen that there is no direct relationships. Country is not able to filter the product. Okay, and if I what I will do, I will bring the okay as I want count of the names. So I will bring the product name and I will go and select here count. Okay, so I will discuss these visuals also how we can do it. But here you can see that it is showing the same number for all. Why? Because the filtering is not happening, right? Why? Because the filtering is not happening. Okay, so if you see, if you go and if you see here also, in case of sum of sales, okay, by order date, if I go and if I make the all the relationships inactive, okay, this is my active relationship, okay, order date and this. So what I will do, I will go and I will make this relationship inactive. Even in this case, both of my relationships are inactive. So you will see that it is showing me the same number for all the places, for all the years, meaning the filtering is not working. The same situation is here. The filtering is not working. Okay. So single direction, you can consider this as an example for the single direction. Okay. And yes, obviously we have seen that dates from the calendar table are able to filter the data from sales table, right? It was filtering and it was showing the sum year wise. Now the same thing I would like to do in between multiple tables, meaning the two different tables, the tables which don't have direct relationship, for which don't have direct relationships. Okay, so how this works? So obviously my communication or territory will go and filter the sales data, but sales data is not able to filter this product. Why? Because there is filter direction matter. This is a single direction. Okay, and yes, the way we have defined the relationships, so according to the relationship, only product table would be able to filter the sales data. What I want is I want to filter or I want to make this filtration in both the direction. Why? Okay, let's say if this table is going to filter this, I want this cells should go and filter the product table, and that's what I want. Okay, so yes, that is also possible, but by doing the changes or by defining the relationship cross filter direction by both the way. Okay, if I right click on this or if you double click on this, it will open this. Go and select both the direction. Okay, go and select both the direction. What will happen now? Now this table, territory table filter cells will be able to filter the product. We have enabled the communication between two tables, okay, in both the direction. And now if you go and see here, so now you have different numbers, right? Earlier the 397 was there. So this is how cross filter direction matters. Cross filter direction, but it is not a good idea to use the both side filter direction. Okay, whenever we have to use this kind of relationships, what we will do, we will prefer only the DAX functions to define the relationships. So there is one more function like user relationship that is able to perform the cross filter direction. Okay, there is one function called cross filter direction. So at the time of DAX, I will discuss everything. You can refer my DAX videos also for the cross filter function now. Okay, so I discussed the single direction filter, bidirectional filter. Fine, and this is my contact number. If you want to join the Power BI course with the webcam, you can reach out to this number anytime. Okay, I hope you like the content of this video. Thank you so much for watching the video. Have a nice day. Please do not forget to subscribe to webcam.